when clients say to me, oh, I'm a bit lazy, and I say, well, I don't think you're lazy. I think you're just depleted, because most of us know when we are just anything's possible, we can accomplish anything. And then there are other times when everything feels hard. And to me, it's just, that's one of those energy management things. So,
Is there
yeah.
like a way how to, well, sounds aggressive, but like push through those times when you feel depleted, but you have to perform like, or maybe have you helped any of your clients with that when they have this like really important period when they are really depleted, but they have to perform at their best? Like, how, what's like the best way to approach that kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, that is actually hard because often things will fall away then. So they will then not turn up for their coaching. I mean, it's not often that I have no shows, but we will try and schedule the coaching so that it doesn't fall during those crazy periods. Because the clients that I have, they will get really, really busy. And I have full empathy that during those periods, I'm not going to say to them, look, keep doing your exercise, keep doing sleep, because I've been in that position myself when with small kids, work, in my case, also doing the masters. And it was just like, look, I am struggling to find 20 minutes in the day to do exercise. So my first thing is that I try and make sure that in those periods we say, look, let's treat this as a limited window, and let's do damage limitation, yeah, as the first thing. If we can do more, great, but let's just start with, we don't need here to be doing all of our best stuff, right? And then it will just be really simple things like, can you do one phone call as a walk? Can you pick one other thing that you from your coping toolbox? Because I do spend a lot of time with clients figuring out what's in their toolbox for coping strategies. Can you do one other one of those things that because actually when we develop the coping toolbox and their strategies for this, I do always say to them, do you think you can do this on your worst day, in your worst week? Because that's always my test with my clients. I guess I'm quite cynical in that way. I want the things that we agree on, I want them to be easy, and I want them to be the things that they can even do when things go crazy, because it's all great when life is normal, right? But for a lot of them, their normal is actually not that normal. Like actually
Yeah.
their normal is a big wave coming and things are crazy. So I want to make sure that what we're agreeing is stuff that is going to be viable even then, if you know what I mean. So,
I think like in a way it can even
like a little
help them
thing.
to still feel that sense of control even during that time if they're able to do this like one thing.
Yeah. So one, like a very simple one thing is like, after your presentation, they'll tell me, I said to them, what's your routine after your presentation that you'll do? They'll say, oh, well, normally I will get out for a quick walk, or I'll go and chat to a colleague, or I'll, whatever their normal is. Okay. So, well, within that, so you're going to do the same thing, but can you now also say three things that went well? Yeah. So you're just being grateful for three things. So it doesn't change. They're not having to do anything new. They're still going to have a conversation with their colleague. They're still going to go for a walk. They're still going to do their planner, but they're just going to add those things in. So that would be a very simple thing that is, like you said, that little bit of control, um,
Is there
because we're
like
not trying to
any,
do.
like as you were speaking, you said about like three things that happened. Is there like any kind of where, I was thinking if there's a place where sport, not sports psychology, the positive psychology can come in and actually add to those like times when you have this like intense schedule.
Yeah. Well, there a lot of the PPIs, which are the positive psychology interventions, and we actually tested a lot of these, on ourselves when we were particularly stressed. So I feel like I know which ones are doable and not doable when you're really up against it, which is often when you're doing a master's, it's at your worst. But three good things is from positive psychology, right? And that is a hugely well-known one because it links into gratitude. Gratitude, as we know, is like, everyone's mad for gratitude now, and rightly so. It is an incredible way of rewiring. But what I love are the derivations of three good things. So the one that I've been talking about recently, and some of my research students have been using in their academic studies and research, is three funny things. So what you do is, and this is for organizations, is you share three funny things that have happened that day or that week. And it's tapping into humor, which is another area that has been looked into now, is underutilized, but can trigger all the good positive emotions, broaden and build lightness. And so I think that's really fresh. Like, I've been talking about three good things for a long time, but I think it's really fresh to have a humor intervention that is really practical, because we all probably think we could benefit from laughing more, but what in practice, what is it that you can do? And what I love about that, so I put that one into practice. What I love about that one is that, just like with three good things, you start to be on the lookout for the good things during the day. You naturally, your seeking system goes to these things. And just like that, with the three funny things, you start to be on the lookout for funny things. And so it just changes your outlook. And so there's a rewiring going on there. But there's loads of other interventions from positive psychology that
I think,
we
like, with
could
the
think about. I mean,
humor.
so savoring.
Yes, again.
Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like the savoring intervention. So like going for 20-minute walks and savoring. I love those, because anything that is sort of to do with nature, and savoring is an area that is explored a lot in positive psychology. And to me, it is actually a form of positive regulation. So positive self-regulation, because the natural response may be to rush through the experience, but by savoring, you are intentionally putting yourself into that positive state and experiencing those positive aspects of whatever you're doing. That's a form of regulation. That's a form of self-regulation. And this is why maybe you and I both love self-regulation, because grit is also a form of self-regulation. So like the definition in that handbook of grit is basically like extended self-regulation over time in the face of obstacles, And so this is why I keep coming back to self-regulation in positive psychology.